Hey everybody, it's Josh here again. I wanted to take a little bit of time to do another one of these dev vlog videos, talk a little bit about what I've been working on this week, what's coming up next week, and preview some of the cool stuff, because I'm pretty excited about this patch. I say that every time. I'll probably say it next week. I said it last week as well. So let's dive in and check it out. But before we do, I want to give a little shout out to Scott and Skip from Rogulikes You Should Know. I'm going to put a link in the description below about their sort of video. They did a podcast where they spoke about Vault of the Void for a good 40 minutes or so as well. So really appreciate those guys mentioning Vault of the Void and had some really cool stuff to say about it as well. I'm a bit behind sending this out. I think it came out about 3 weeks ago. And funny enough, as soon as I got that, I tended to a few of the issues that were there as well, which sort of came in last week's patch in terms of tooltips and readability and stuff like that. So I love hearing stuff like this and being able to respond to the changes. So big shout out to those guys, and yeah, go check it out and give them some support. All right, without further ado, let's jump in. So I'm going to start by talking about the changes to instability and Impossible Plus to begin with. There's been a lot of positive feedback about the instability system and how that scaling system works in Vault of the Void, how you can sort of customize your run with different modifiers and tweak things as you go. Whilst it gives a lot of control to the player and it gives something to sort of work towards trying to get that 50 plus achievement, which some people have, the other thing is that it does present the user with a lot of stuff up front, and I mean Vault does that a lot already, but again this kind of does it where you're sort of slapped with all these different modifiers trying to pass what you want to put on and stuff like that. Other games have more of a handheld type approach where you step your way through it, and so I wanted to try and make sure that I was sort of catering for players to enter into this Impossible Plus mode, but also not be overwhelmed. So enter the guided mode. So, well, actually, basically, when you step in here from the difficulty selector, you'll have three choices. So, custom mode, which is what we just saw, and then daily mode, which is something which will be coming soon. So, we're just trying to figure out where that sweet spot should be. There's a point in instability where it goes from being, every seed is winnable with perfect play, to it's starting to get a little bit more hairy, and maybe it's starting to think a bit more stressful as well. We find that around the 25 to 30 mark is the feedback I've been getting, so I'm keeping that in mind. So at the moment I got daily mode, as it'll probably be a random selection of somewhere between 25 or 30, but I'll gain some more feedback on that and figure out where that should be. However, this is guided mode here. So when you click on guided mode, now my instability is already at 25 from prior play. However, when you first step in, you will be at max instability 5. That's what you get set to start with. And so you can click it back to 1 if you want to, or you can go and start at 5. And what it does is it's just basically a guided system which automatically fills in all of these different settings for you and gives you a stepped ladder type approach and experience. So it makes it a bit more digestible. You then suddenly don't need to pass every single modifier. You're starting at 1, you just need to know what lingering injuries is. Okay, start the run with 15% HP lost. Cool. And then as you step through, you can start to become more familiar with them. I think that this system will hopefully make things a little bit more approachable, and it's all tailor-made as well. So I sat down with the card council, we had a call, and I said, okay, we need to sort of handcraft this from 1 to 30. So beyond 30, you will have to start moving into custom runs to sort of try and get those 50 plus achievements. But by the time you get to 30, you're familiar with the system, and maybe you just take instability 30 from guided and then click this button here and then edit that setup and start putting in the ones that you want or that you don't want. With this system as well, we're very mindful about the different modifiers that can affect the different classes in different ways. For example, collapsing hallways is worse for the hidden than it is for any other class. Original Sin, where you start with a void, hurts the monk a lot more than it does the other ones, because of the fact that it, one less card in your hand to get into Zen, all that sort of stuff. So these ones don't start kicking in, and then they all kick in at around the same time at around 10. So you'll see 10 will kick in with Original Sin, and then Collapsing Hallways after that, and then we bump up our Eroding Sanity there, which can be pretty punishing for the daughter. So they all sort of click in at around the same time. Now there isn't a custom setup per class, and that was very intentional. I wanted to have just a sort of step-by-step ladder system that is for all classes. But of course, if you are running instability 16 on guided mode and you are having some issues here, you can click this edit setup button and just go in here and, oh, you know what, I actually don't want time pockets, I would prefer to have maybe uninspired. Right, so you can modify that run and then click on start run and go for it. So yeah, I really hope that the guided mode is an improvement and something that really helps helps with people starting to just process their way through the instability setup. And then before long, you'll be doing instability 50 plus runs and getting that achievement. So yeah, we'll jump over to the changes now for the Enlightened. So I made mention, I think in the last video, that the next thing that we're going to be doing is really starting to flesh out these card pools a little bit more, add some more fun to the game as well. And not just card pools, but also artifacts. And so the first cab off the rank is the Enlightened, or Monkman. And I'm going to jump in here now and show you some of the new cards, show you some of the new artifacts. There's, I think, 20 plus new cards, maybe 22 or so new cards, and a lot of those being common. My goal here is to make sure that run replayability is starting to be a focus. Vault of the Void suffers from the fact that it shows you everything up front, which is part of the game design, but it also can cause issues where jumping into a run, you can sometimes feel like, oh, I've seen that card before, because it's all shown to you up front, sort of thing. Whereas, you know, you probably will see one or two commons, you know, throughout the same run when you're doing run to run. However, the more cards we start to add to that, the more it sort of begins to help with that issue, as long as it doesn't get to the point where cards just are filler and just crap, basically. So we really want to try and avoid that. So I'm being mindful to try and strike that balance. As you can see right now, the Hidden, he is sitting at around 57 cards. The Daughter around 56 cards, and now the Enlightened is at 73. So probably would like to see that number up around the 80, but I've been very mindful not to put a number on that just yet. So we're just going to see how things go and then plug holes as well. So a couple of goals with the Enlightened changes, more commons, make Echo Wall more of a thing, so you can really start to play into that. And obviously the big issue that I get a lot of feedback on, a lot of questions on, is making the she build, so just making that the mindfulness build being able to close out fights. So she has that. She is great, especially in AoE fights where once it's on the board, it starts spreading to everyone, stuff like that. But sometimes people are finding that it's just a touch too slow. So having some ways of finishing that off. I think that we've already sort of managed to address that a little bit by having that automatic fatigue. So previously you really wanted to include at least one source of Future Strike to get those fatigues on those targets. But now, with fatigue being automatic, which was something that happened last patch, and I should mention as well, fatigue is automatically applied every second round. So when Future Strike would trigger, fatigue is added as well. So that means that you no longer have to take those Future Strike cards if you don't want to, although I still think that the She build does require a little bit of direct damage or Future Strike to complement that, because as soon as you can lower their HP, then that She can kick in and start spreading around. But I'm not going to go through all the cards, but I'll pick out a few as I go, and maybe we'll check them out. So you can see Echo Wall already becoming a thing here with Mirror Guard ready to reprisal. You're going to start seeing a lot more. Wait for it. Echo Wall 1, Foresight 1, Delay Block 4. Okay. One thing that is something that I wanted to dial in with a little bit more, when an enemy is already fatigued, having effects. So that fatigued clause, which I think there was 1 or 2 previously. However, deal 4 She, fatigued, draw 1. Great. You know, one of the things that I wanted to do is, obviously, there's already been pretty mindful about draw effects. Everyone sort of knows that when drawing in Vault is very different because it is free energy. So that's why a lot of effects are draw and discard. However, I do want to start to loosen that a little bit now. I think that the cards are in a pretty good balance spot. Having a few little outliers here where there is some nice draw effects which can't go too crazy. Really want to start to include that stuff there. And then we've got another fatigue trigger +1 time. So pressure, another great example of a good one to double trigger Void Stones or anything like that. Those +1 triggers with Void Stones are great. Jack of All, deal 2 Future Strike, deal 2 She, block 3, delay block 3, a little bit of everything. For a 1 cost common as well. And then I'll jump across here to Stoicism. So this one here is one that has pretty quickly, I think, become a favorite. Echo Wall 1, draw 1, desync. And I think the upgrade, yeah, loses desync as well on upgrade. So that's a lot of fun to get that Echo Wall up. And as you can see, Echo Wall becoming, you'll see some of the artifacts as well interacting with this a little bit more. I really like sort of being able to lean into an Echo Wall build a little bit more now as well. Multitask, deal 4 Future Strike twice, per 15 She on the target, then delay block 1. So has a max of 25. So this one does have a max. In testing, we had to add a max to this one. You can imagine someone like the Void with 600 She. You start to do a lot of block for a 1 cost common. But this is one of those ones that as that fight goes on, this card gets stronger, right? So things like that, which are really helping out She. And then I'll skip across to, there's one more I wanted to point out. Here it is. It's Escalate. So per 20 She in the target, deal 3 She. So another one that's going to be scaling up. This one's an uncommon. And then on upgrade per 15 She. This one doesn't have a cap either. So this one's a bit harder to set up. And you can see how these sort of cards are going to help to, especially once that target, you're 4 or 5 turns in, there's a bit of fatigue on the board. The She is already starting to ramp up. These are hopefully going to help close those fights out a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to jump in now and take a look at some of the artifacts. So we're over here in the artifacts page. Again, I think there was maybe like 15 or so added. I'll have to double check my records. But yeah, I'm going to pick out a few and show you guys sort of what's coming out. So one of the cool ones here, Reformed Ring. A partially completed chain doesn't reset at the end of the turn. Suddenly when you end on a 2-pip chain, doesn't feel so bad. Start the next one, play 1 card, you're into Zen automatically. So some cool little things you can do there with micro. Speaking of micro, Prayer Box, cards will always cost 0 in Zen. So it's not -1 anymore, that all cards will cost 0. However, your card play gets reduced by the base cost of the card. So, when you've got 1 card play left in your Zen, they're all costing 0. That's when you can drop your 3 coster. Doesn't hurt you as much as it would when if you dropped it earlier. So there's lots of little things that you can do there. Glowing Brick, Echo Wall only reflects 1/3 of the damage, but you delay block equal to the damage dealt. So suddenly you can start, this is where I was talking about more interesting things with Echo Wall becoming a thing. Sapphire Sloth, this is one that before your threat triggers, it just gives She to all enemies equal to your unused Zen card plays. Another good one. Opener, a Tiny Gong allows you to play Opener even if it isn't your first card played. So there's a lot of Straw Hat. Start each turn with 1 ability chain. Another little cool one there. So I'll put all these in the patch notes so you can check them all out. But there's a lot of really fun stuff here for the monk to jump into, and I'm excited to see what becomes people's favorites. And I'll know soon enough because I'm sure we'll have them asked for emoticons on the Discord server before long. So yeah. So that'll pretty much do it from me. Don't really have anything else to sort of cover off here. Again, with those upcoming updates, or at least this one here, this will probably be already on the beta server, beta branch. Jump in the Discord if you're not already on there, if you want to learn how to get on the beta branch, and then you can give it a try, or you can just wait a couple of days and the game will hit the live this patch will hit the live servers. This has already gone through a couple rounds of internal testing, so usually by the time it reaches the beta branch, a lot of things are smoothed out. Of course, there's a bunch of bugs that have been fixed in this patch as well, so I'll have that in the full patch notes. Other than that, next up is the Hidden. So the Hidden's going to get a similar sort of card expansion, artifact expansion, and then after that, the Enlighten, the Daughter is going to get a card and artifact expansion as well. So trying to bring all those up to around that 75, 80 cards and flesh out their artifact pools a little bit more as well. I couldn't end this video without saying a big shout out to the Card Council who have been instrumental in helping get all this together, from the card design to the artifact design to testing and feedback and all that sort of stuff. So I'd be lost without them. You guys know who you are, so thank you so much. And other than that, it's just a huge thank you to everyone who has played and purchased Vault of the Void. This just started as me just trying to figure things out 3 years ago, just for a bit of fun. And what it's turned into, blows me away. I would have never imagined anything like this. So to see all the discussion and strategy and every day going on Twitch and seeing people playing it, it's incredible. So thank you so much. And to everyone that's given a positive review on Steam, I don't have a marketing budget. I'm not marketing Vault of the Void in any way. Everything is just through word of mouth, all those positive reviews, which really do go a long way, sort of push Vault up on those charts so that people can find it. So to all of you who have done that, thank you so much. I look at that over 90% positive rating, and that's I think it's 95% now. It's incredible. I can't say anything, but thank you, and I will continue to keep updating as often as I can, and hoping to try and get these updates out as quickly as possible every week, 2 weeks, but obviously I still have a full-time job and family commitments, 4 kids, so they kind of keep me busy, but yeah, hopefully I can maintain this schedule and keep things going. So thank you everyone, and until next time, take it easy.